Tudor are known for making some of the best quality watches around. They continue to innovate and push the boundaries on what you can get from a luxury Swiss watch. And unlike their sister brand Rolex, they aren't priced as hilariously, making them some of the best value for money watches you can buy. Sadly for some, this is still an expensive hobby, and we're looking at $2,000 to $3,000 at least for these kinds of watches. So obviously not everyone can afford a Tudor Pelagos, for example, if they were looking for an iconic titanium dive watch. But fret no more, because San Martin have produced this, the SN0121T-GA, a homage watch that may very well fill that void. So let's start off by addressing the elephant in the room. This is a homage watch, and I've made videos before on these kinds of timepieces that are produced quicker and cheaper, the majority of them coming out of China. Some of them I liked and would highly recommend, but there are sometimes, of course, issues, as per se, to look out for. I also made a video about the production of Chinese watches, so if you're interested in that, you should definitely check it out. This is like for like pretty much a copy of the Tudor Pelagos, a $5,000 professional dive watch that is highly regarded as one of the best dive watches you can buy for the money in question. So is this just an aesthetic copy, or can this watch offer something similar to the Pelagos in terms of function? Well, let's take a look. The San Martin SN0121T-GA features a full grade 2 titanium construction. That means the case and bracelet are both titanium. This is the same type of titanium used in the Pelagos. San Martin actually do offer this watch in stainless steel as well, just in case you wanted something a bit more robust, as titanium does scratch easily. This watch has a diameter of 39mm, which is smaller than the 42 offered by Tudor. 42mm is on the larger side, so 39 does offer a more universal approach for wearers, which is great for me as I have a small wrist. Tudor did release a Pelagos 39mm model, but that does differ slightly, coming with a sunray finish bezel and a lower water resistance of 200 meters. This San Martin model, however, features 300 meters of water resistance. This watch has a thickness of 12.8mm including the crystal, which again is much thinner than the 14.3mm of the Tudor. So overall, this is a much smaller watch compared to the real thing. It has sapphire glass with anti-reflective coating, and the dive bezel is a 120-click unidirectional ceramic bezel with luminous markers. The BGW9 lume is also present on the indices and handset. The Tudor does have a 60-click bezel, so this is a notable difference. Looking at the dial, we have a similar blue color to the Pelagos, but I immediately noticed the blue of the dial doesn't match the bezel. The dial is a bit darker, it seems to be a slightly different hue. I suspect San Martin have done this on purpose, but I don't actually think this looks as good. At the 12 o'clock position is the San Martin logo, and at the 6 o'clock position is automatic with the depth rating. So as many of you will know, the Tudor Pelagos kind of became a meme in the watch world for their inclusion of a wall of text at the 6 o'clock position. Now I don't know what they were thinking, but we've all moved on from it now. I think San Martin have obviously opted to keep it simple. There's a date window at the 3 o'clock position, and the handset is again just as it is on the Pelagos, with the iconic snowflake hands. The inner chapter ring and indices, although not identical, also seem to be very familiar as well. The crystal on the San Martin has a very flat placement and sits flush. Looking at the case of the San Martin, it follows that tall watch feel with a brushed finish, except for the chamfers, which are actually polished, and I don't believe they are polished on the Tudor. Looking on the left-hand side of the watch, there is no helium escape valve, because that's probably expensive for San Martin to produce, and also not needed for 300 meters of water resistance. So you could say the Pelagos wins here with the 500 meters of water resistance, but in all honesty, who needs 500 meters of water resistance? I know I don't. Looking at the bracelets of the San Martin, there's a classic 3-link style, nothing fancy here, and certainly not the same as the Pelagos. San Martin have added their large logo on the clasp, which features push-down buttons to release the mechanism. Now, I didn't expect San Martin to have the same complexities when it comes to the bracelet as the Tudor, but they have managed to include a micro adjustment here, which is really nice. Inside this watch is the NH35 movement, a popular, affordable and reliable automatic produced by Seiko. This movement has a 40-hour power reserve and an accuracy of -20 to +40 seconds per day. So looking at the price, San Martin wants $260 for this watch, which is around £200. And I don't really need to state the obvious, which is that this is insane value for money, assuming nothing goes wrong, and we'll come back to this point later. Okay, so let's talk about what I like here. The original Tudor Pelagos is a very big watch. It's 42mm, it's quite chunky. So if you simply wanted a great dive watch that follows the Pelagos aesthetic, that fits your wrist more comfortably, this is a good option. This watch also comes in 4 colors: blue, black, green and white. So you simply have a better range of choice here. The green is particularly cool, and I'd be very annoyed if I worked at Tudor right now, because you know they'll release a green Pelagos eventually. It's just annoying for them that San Martin got there first. Another positive thing about this watch is what it represents: accessibility. People are now able to afford their dream watch. And yes, it's not the actual watch they wanted, but it helps to scratch that itch. I guess the question is, does buying a Homage watch make you more or less likely to buy the real thing? I guess it could go both ways. It might make you want the real watch even more, or you might realize that maybe you had your Grail watch on a pedestal. So let's talk about things to look out for and things that aren't perhaps so great. As with many Homage or low-cost Chinese watches, it's hard to know whether the water resistance has been tested. Now, San Martin do claim to pressure test their watches to the depth rating stated, which is great. It's not like they are ignoring people who are asking questions. There is communication here. But do their testing standards live up to Swiss testing standards, for example? Well, in truth, we just don't know for sure. There have also been quality control issues with some San Martin watches. Some have just been minor inconsistencies, like bezel alignments being slightly off, or crystals not perfectly pressed into position. There are also reports of things like ink coming off the dial or on the bezel. It's not to say these things don't happen with luxury brands or Swiss watches. However, it's important to remember that quality control may not be perfect when products are made with a cheaper budget in mind. And then there's the issue if something does go wrong with your watch. I did some digging around online and sadly did find a lot of posts from people having issues with San Martin's customer service. There are many reports of warranties not being fully honoured and expensive shipping costs back to China to have watches repaired. There also seems to be a general consensus that customer care with low-budget Chinese brands in general can be messy and inconsistent, with some people having excellent experiences and others having real nightmares. It seems that there's no in-between. Okay, so final thoughts here. I think this is a great, well-priced and attractive watch. San Martin has excellent finishing and includes some great features like the micro adjustment and bright lume. This watch also looks like the real deal and will, for some time at least, fill the Tudor Pelagos void that some of you may have. Would I risk taking this watch down to 300 meters in the water? Probably not. Do I ever dive deeper than 3 meters? Of course not. Hardly any of us do. I also think that naturally we compare this watch to Tudor because it's a direct homage. But realistically, when it comes to quality, it should be compared to the likes of Seiko, Citizen or Invicta. When it comes to price, this is a $260 watch that feels like a $500 to $1,000 watch. And that's the success here. That's the whole point of why this watch exists. And that's why I think people will continue to purchase these kind of watches. As much as I like to make these videos full-time, I do have an everyday job, and it can be really hard for me to find time to make these videos as good as I can for you guys. So I'd really appreciate your help in liking this video, subscribing to the channel, hitting the bell icon, doing all those things to make sure that you stay up to date in what I've got coming out for you. As always guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.